to the part 2 of our series Building a Computer from Scratch. So, in this part, we are going to trace the origin of binaries from ancient India, and then we will move on to the our exploration that why do computers need binaries. The computers we see today could never been imagined without the binaries. But do you know that these binaries were discovered back in the 3rd century by Acharya Pinglaji when he was working on the meter or chand of Vedas? Our Vedas are composed in meters or chand. India is a country with rich culture and heritage. We have so many languages, and most of the Indian languages have the long swar or the short swar. So the combination of these long and short sounds is the basis of Sanskrit meter or chand. In 3rd century, Acharya Pingla ji authored the book called as Chanda Shastra, which contains the science of meters used in the poetry. So this is where the first known concept of binary system is found on the earth. And whenever we listen Sanskrit shlokas, they make us feel so pleasant and it is so mesmerizing. They help us remove the negative energy around us. But do you know that the concepts of binaries also originate from these Sanskrit shlokas? So, a verse in Sanskrit classical literature has four quarters or pad in a stanza. The meter of a verse is determined by the number of syllables and their order of arrangement in a quarter. A syllable is a vowel or a vowel with one or more consonants preceding it. So, Acharya Pingla ji categorized the long swar as the guru and the short swar as the laghu. So, let us understand how the concepts of binaries originate from these shlokas. So, this is a shlok from Bhavani Ashtakam. So, it have 12 letters in one quarter, and the pattern of arrangement of these syllables is like L G G. L stands for Laghu and G stands for Guru. So let us move ahead and see how this pattern help us creating the concepts of binaries. Acharya Pingla ji's Chanda Shastra chapter 8 introduces the pratyayas, and these pratyayas were categorized into six: the prastara, sankhyas, nashta, uddishta, lagakriya, advayoga, and these six categories introduces a lot of mathematics relating to the Sanskrit meters. So in Prastara, he discusses the procedure by which all possible metrical patterns with a given number of syllables are laid out sequentially as an array. So now let us discuss about Prastara. So what this method teaches us, it teaches how to list the meters in pattern. So if you have one syllable, then write G and L one below each other, and then for the two syllable Prastara, insert equal number of G's and L's like as shown in the table here. So we have represented the three syllable and the four syllable Prastara here. So Just observe the pattern of the four syllable prastara. We get something very much similar to the binary system we work today. Just replace the G with the 0 and L with the 1 and subtract the row number with 1. We get something very much similar to binary system. It is the mirror image of the binary system we work today. So why do computers need binary? So for this we will be analyzing various components of computer to understand why do they need binary. So let us understand the working of a CD. A CD have a layer where bits and flat area contains the disk data in the simple binary format. A bit represents the 0 whereas a flat area represents 1. So a laser is pointed at the disk as it spin. So when the laser light hits a flat area, it reflects towards a photoelectric cell, which then detects the light. So when the laser light strikes a pit, it does not get reflected towards the photoelectric cell. So this means that it's a 0. And when the light gets reflected, it equals the 1. So this binary is then processed by the computer as a data. So let us understand the working of a hard disk. So hard disk have a multi-platter writing process. Data is written on both sides of each platter. So these platters have small sections where there's different orientation of the magnetic field. This different orientation of magnetic field determines the bits to be stored in that area. So the hard disk have the read and write heads. So the read heads are tunneling magnetoresistance devices, which consist of an insulator sandwiched between two sensitive magnetic materials. So this magnetic field form from the platter influence the closest magnet, causing the electrons to tunnel or travel through the insulator and flip the polarity of the second magnet. Thus the reading the platters happens here. So when the right heads create an electromagnetic field that positions the north pole of a domain either up or down. The magnetic field is such that one side of it is much more concentrated while the other end is more spread out. This allows to influence only the atoms on one side of the field. So a magnetic domain with the north pole up could be a 1 while 1 with the north pole down with could be a 0. Each 1 or 0 considered as a bit of data. So let us understand why do central processing unit needs the binary, which is the brain of computer which controls all components. So the microprocessor chip internally consists of millions of integrated circuits packed in a processor chip. This technology is referred as the very large scale integration or the VLSI. So each integrated circuit inside the processor chip consists of millions of tiny components called as transistor. The transistor is a fundamental building block of all the microprocessor chips. So the transistor is made up of silicon, which is a semiconductor material. The transistor inside the CPU functions as a micro switch. that can be programmed to be either switched on or switched off. When the transistor is in the on state, it represents the binary number 1, and when the transistor in off state, it represents the binary number 0. And for this reason, the microprocessor within a computer system can be programmed to execute program instruction in binary to execute program instructions in binary. So the CPU can interpret the machine code instructions in binary format only. So let us understand the working of DRAM, which is a type of random access memory. Its smallest memory cell is the 1T1C cell. So it contains two parts. One is the capacitor and the other is the transistor. Capacitor stores the one bit of data in the form of electrical charges, and transistor help in the reading and writing of the data. So, this is how the DRAM works with the binaries. So, with the discussion up till now, we can clearly state that the computers can't work without the binaries, because there are only two states possible. In every case, we have seen whether it's a CD. In CD, the photoreceptor either receive the lights or not receive the light, or either the hard disk, either it's the north pole or the south pole, or it's the transistor which is either on or off, or it's the DRAM capacitor, which is either fully charged or not charged. So with this, we conclude our this video, and in next video we will be dealing with the basic binary calculations, the complements, the various number systems,